What would happen if the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? The Earth rotates on its axis at a colossal speed, about 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. Thanks to this, we have day and night, a stable climate, and the familiar stability of gravity. But what if, in an instant, this giant machine simply stops? If the rotation stopped instantly, the consequences would be catastrophic. Everything not connected to the Earth's crust, buildings, trees, cars, people, would continue to move by inertia at the same speed of 1,000 miles per hour. It would be like a car traveling at breakneck speed, suddenly stopping. Only instead of a car, it would be the entire planet. Imagine a supersonic wind blowing away everything in its path. Cities are reduced to rubble. Everything on the surface is blown away in the direction of rotation. And from west to east, entire continents will be affected. It will be like a global earthquake, a hurricane, and a nuclear disaster, all at once. The world ocean is a huge volume of water that also moves with the Earth. If the rotation stops, the water will continue to move by inertia. The result? Giant tsunamis covering the coasts of the continents. Imagine walls of water crashing onto the continents. The first to disappear will be the port cities. New York, London, Tokyo, Mumbai, everything will be flooded. In the long term, the shape of the Earth will begin to change. Currently, due to rotation, the Earth is slightly flattened at the poles and convex at the equator. This creates an equatorial hump. Without rotation, gravity would be distributed more evenly, and water would begin to flow toward the poles. This means that the current equatorial regions would become dry land, and the north and south would become oceans. Africa could become the new continental center, and Russia and Canada could go underwater. Stopping the rotation would disrupt the mechanisms that regulate the climate. The atmospheric flows associated with rotation would disappear. Along with them, the stability of the weather would be disrupted. But that's not all. If the Earth continues to revolve around the sun, but does not rotate on its axis, then one side of the planet will be constantly facing the sun, and it will turn into a hot desert where the temperature will rise above 100 degrees Celsius. The other side will be an eternal darkness, turning into a frozen ice desert with temperatures below 100 degrees Celsius. Life is possible only in a thin strip between light and darkness, where conditions can be relatively mild. This will be a narrow twilight zone that will slowly move around the planet if there is any tilt axis left. The Earth's rotation also creates a magnetic field, our shield from solar radiation and cosmic particles. Without it, the Earth will literally be bombarded by the sun. The radiation will damage electronics, destroy the ozone layer, and slowly begin to kill all living things. Imagine a sky full of deadly glowing particles, similar to the northern lights. But this is not a natural phenomenon. It is the death of the atmosphere. Without rotation, the influence of the moon will also change. Now the rotation and gravity of the moon create tides. Without rotation, the tides will become weaker and slower, but the moon itself will begin to pull the Earth's crust, creating new forms of landscape. In addition, over time, the moon may begin to approach the Earth, which in the long term will also lead to disasters. If anyone survives the initial impact, they will live in conditions comparable to those on another planet. Underground cities are possible, oases between light and darkness. Using nuclear energy for heating and lighting, humanity will become a nomadic, technologically dependent species, struggling to survive on a new hostile Earth. Let's be clear, such a scenario is extremely unlikely. There are no known forces capable of instantly stopping the planet's rotation. Even a collision with a huge asteroid would probably change the axis or speed of rotation, but it would not stop it completely. However, in science fiction, in future simulations, in educational scenarios, such hypotheses help us understand how fragile our planet is. We live on a planet that rotates with the precision of an atomic clock. Day follows night, the tides ebb and flow. The climate changes in a dance of air currents. Stop all this and chaos ensues. So perhaps it's time to look at the familiar sunrise with a new sense of wonder. Because as long as the Earth turns, we're alive.